Hey guys, I don't know if you're like me, but when I was in high school, I failed multiple courses. I was sitting in class, everything was quiet, everyone had their pencils out, because we were about to take a final exam. My teacher handed out the papers, and when I got mine, I handed it right back and said, "Thanks," then I left the class. Now obviously, I failed, but what are we talking about here when we say failure? Well, there's a lot of ways we can talk about it, but for now, we'll simply define it as the lack of success in achieving something that we want or hope for. And thinking of examples of failure in this way isn't hard. Our lives are full of it. We do backflips off the trampoline and land on our heads, or we call our teacher mom in front of the whole class, or we try and style our hair and we end up looking like an 8-year-old Justin Bieber. These types of failure are minor, and they happen all the time, and they're often funny, even to us. Then there's also comparison failure. In these cases, we feel like we're not where we want to be in comparison with those around us. So for instance, we might feel like our friends are all in relationships, but we haven't even had our first kiss yet. Or they're bulking up at the gym, and despite working out just as much as them, we're still skinny. Or maybe we finally convinced our parents to get the latest pair of Jordans right before the style changes. In these cases, it's not so much that we tried and failed at something, but rather we're unhappy because we feel like we're falling behind. And there's more serious types of failure that really hurt. Maybe it's failing a driver's test right before you're supposed to drive your friends downtown. Or even worse, failing it for the 3rd time and having to show your face at school. Maybe it's liking someone and getting rejected, or losing at an important basketball game, or having something really embarrassing happen to you, and then overhearing people talking about it at school. I don't know about you, but in those times, I just want to fall into a dark hole and disappear. Especially with more serious types of failure. It can feel like it piles on, making us feel increasingly overwhelmed. And we can start to not only dislike failure, but to actually fear it. Did you know that there's actually a name for it? It's called atikiphobia, and it comes from an ancient Greek word for the fear of failure or defeat. Which sort of makes sense, because 1,000 years ago, the Greeks were kind of scared of everything. Monsters, sea creatures, angry gods, plagues, you name it, made life crazy terrifying, because everything and anything might kill you. Anyways, wherever the word comes from, fear of failure is actually a big deal, and it's important for us to pay attention to it. Did you know that it's one of the top fears in the world? Even beats things like fear of spiders and clowns, which are straight up creepy. The reality is that fear of failure affects a lot of people, especially today's teens. And it can often create feelings of anxiety, burnout, and depression. Maybe you felt this too, because I know that I have. A couple years ago, they asked over 500,000 15-year-olds from 79 countries, including Canada and the US, if they have serious fear of failure. Over half said yes. They said failure makes them worry about what others think of them, that it makes them feel dumb or useless, and that makes them doubt their plans for the future. When I was in high school, my dream was to become an NBA basketball player. I never got many minutes at first, but one year, I decided to dedicate the entire summer to becoming the best basketball player I could be. And the work paid off. I was excelling above my peers. And then, I had a season-ending injury, and I lost my edge. Everyone had caught up or surpassed me during the year I was out. And of course, I was failing my classes too. I felt like a loser. Not only did I feel dumb, but I couldn't even succeed at what I was actually good at. I felt like no one would understand. I felt like I was all alone. But it helped when one day I realized other people are experiencing the same thing. I know it might sound cynical, but it's not that I want to see others fail. It's just comforting to know that other people are struggling with the same things as I was struggling with. I'm not extraordinarily incapable. And actually, it's normal to fail and make mistakes and have setbacks. These things help us grow. They help us learn about who we are. It's taken me a long time to figure this out. And honestly, I'm still figuring it out. But the truth is, failure happens to everyone. It might not be the same for each person, but we all go through it. We might fail in school, in dating, or like me, basketball. But listen closely. It's okay. Experiencing failure is completely normal, and in the long term, it can actually be really beneficial. We'll talk more about this later, but I want to touch on personal resilience. So people often talk about resilience as a person's toughness or ability to bounce back from challenges. They're not wrong exactly, but it's a lot more than that. Resilience is a person's ability to navigate and engage life's problems and opportunities successfully. Yes, it's your ability to bounce back from something, like failing a test or getting dumped, but it's also your willingness to try something that might fail or turn out badly. Maybe it's opening up to someone, or trying out for school play, or applying for summer jobs. The more resilient you are, the more comfortable you are with putting yourself out there, even if the odds are against you. It's kind of like courage, in a way. You never see this in pretty much anything Marvel, like when was the last time you saw Iron Man or Black Panther scared? You don't. Literally nothing freaks them out. But you do see this in The Office. It happens a lot. But I'm thinking about that one scene where Michael Scott accidentally sends an inappropriate photo of Jan, his boss, to the warehouse, who then forwarded it to the entire company. He is so scared during the rest of the episode. Eventually, he toughens up and has a meeting with her, instead of running away. You see, courage isn't not being afraid, it's pushing through when you are. Resilience is like this. It's getting hit by the fear of failure and then trying anyways. And if failure does happen, so you get dumped or you don't get the job you applied for, it's trying again and again. The reason I said that failure here can be a good thing in the long run is because struggles and adversities are actually a necessary ingredient in building personal resilience. A person's resiliency is like a muscle. At the gym, your muscles only grow when stressed. So doing bench press at the limit of your strength causes little tears in the muscles, which your body then heals by filling in these tears with more muscle fibers so that it's better prepared for next time. Obviously, like a muscle, too much strain can cause injury. The type of challenge we face, how severe they are, and when they happen matters. Difficult experiences in our lives can be too much for us to take in, and in those cases, we need greater support. Not all experiences are the same, and they can't be treated that way. But it's equally true that too little adversity in our life causes our resiliency muscles to be underdeveloped. Things like getting a C- when we wanted an A on a paper, or getting only 3 likes on a fire post, or dealing with conflict between friendships, all help our body develop greater resiliency. And we actually need it to get stronger. And don't get me wrong, when we experience failure, so when a relationship doesn't work out, it sucks. The feelings are real and valid. We feel stressed, sad, angry, frustrated, and worn out. But it gets better, and the next time we try, we're able to withstand more than we could the first time around. The science actually demonstrates that our love and appreciation grow as we become more resilient. Our academic performances, our job successes, and our relationships often grow stronger too. So when you experience failure, remember that, like going to the gym, our bodies will use our experience and grow because of them. Now, before I finish, I want to leave you with a few truths that I've learned through my personal experience with failure. Hopefully, these help you as much as they've helped me. Truth number 1, you are not alone. The thing that's probably helped me the most is realizing I'm not the odd one out. Sure, I failed, but so has everyone. Go ahead, ask your parents, relatives, teachers, coaches, and literally anyone in your life. I guarantee you they've failed. And if they haven't, they're totally lying, or they've conveniently forgotten. The lives of those around us are like icebergs. We only see a teeny bit, and there's so much more under the surface. Truth number 2, experiencing failure doesn't make you a failure. This is hugely important. The moment we make the jump, and it's easy to do this, from saying I have failed to I am a failure, we've bought into a lie and let shame in. So let me be super clear on this. You are not now, nor ever have been, nor ever will be a failure. You are an incredible human being with unconditional value, and nothing can take that away or diminish it. I didn't learn this easily. Once I did, I realized that the lack of success in my sport didn't make me any less worth it, nor did failing my classes. I matter just like you do. Truth number 3, take responsibility where we need to. It's almost never black and white where failure is concerned. There's usually a lot of reasons why something that we want or think we should have doesn't happen. And we definitely shouldn't pile blame on ourselves. That said, it's important that we do admit where we are responsible for things. Failing my driver's test might not be entirely my fault, but I also could have studied a little bit more. It's important to admit that. instead of pointing the fingers at everyone else. We can't be a part of the solution if we've excused ourselves from places where we can and should grow. Truth number 4, reframe how you see failure. We need to learn to see failure not as a bad thing. So when you don't pass your driver's test, you are not a loser or a mistake. You simply didn't pass your driver's test. That's it. Or when you got a 54 and not a 95 on a test, you're not dumb and your life isn't ruined. You won't even remember this in a month. And even still, you got a 54. That's more than half, right? And remember, the challenges we face in life, while they may suck in the moment, they can make us stronger in the end. Especially if we learn that failure is not this terrible universe-ending event, but as opportunities to grow and become the best version of ourselves. So take a breath, relax, and remember, failure happens, and that it's okay.